Welcome back, you unsupervised miracle. You beautiful, terrifying walking audit of everybody else's standards. Let's make one thing very clear from the start. Your city has a problem, and the problem is you. Not because you did something wrong, but because you did something too right in a place that built its comfort on overlooking people like you. There's a sentence floating through back alleys, group chats, barbershops, DM threads, parking lots after midnight. Who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed? And every time someone says it, the room goes just a little heavier. Because they all know they saw you. They just didn't recognize what they were looking at. Picture this for a second. A circle of people outside a corner store acting like they're just passing time. One of them drops your name, casual. Another one says, "Nah, for real. How did we miss that?" And then it clicks. You weren't the one who was invisible. They were the ones who were blind. While they were busy hyping up loud mediocrity, you were in the background doing work at a level that didn't match the surroundings. No theatrics, no attention campaigns, no begging to be chosen. Just consistency. Just precision. Just a kind of discipline that makes people feel exposed when they finally notice it. You were never meant to be the neighborhood's feel-good story. You weren't built to be the person they clap for when it's convenient and forget when it's not. You carry the kind of wiring that makes people rethink their own potential. And that's uncomfortable. It's easier to pretend you're doing well than to admit you're operating on a level most of them never had the courage to aim at. So for the longest time, they tried to file you away in their mind as cool, but nothing crazy. Just another face, just another name, just another person from around here. Then you started making moves that couldn't be brushed off. Someone watched you solve a problem in minutes that had them stuck for weeks. Someone else clocked how you handled disrespect with a calm that didn't look like weakness. It looked like control. Another person saw you show up, not once, not twice, but over and over, doing what you said you'd do, without needing anyone to praise you for it. These weren't big, flashy moments. These were quiet receipts. At first, they treated it like coincidence. Then the coincidences started forming a pattern. And now that pattern has a name, and that name keeps coming up even when you're not there. Word around town is you're the one who doesn't fold, the one who doesn't panic, the one who doesn't move like the environment is all there is. You don't cling to places that refuse to grow. You don't chase validation from people who only know how to love you if you stay small. You're not trying to impress a crowd that confuses confidence with arrogance because they've never seen self-respect at full volume. You move like someone who's already had the conversation with themselves. No one's coming to save you. You either build it or you stay bitter. And you chose building. That's what's causing all this noise. Your city is used to crowning the same personalities over and over again. Same families, same last names, same social circles, same recycled talent. Everyone pretends is legendary because they grew up around it. Then you show up and start outperforming entire friend groups without asking for a seat at their table. You didn't wait to be handed a title. You became undeniable. That's different. That's threatening. Because if you can rise without their cosigns, what does that say about how inflated their own reputation really is? Here's the part nobody wants to admit out loud. A lot of people remember having front row access to you. They remember sitting next to you in class, standing beside you at work, sharing space with you at parties, watching you stay to yourself while everyone else chased attention. They remember the calm way you paid attention to detail. They remember how you asked real questions while others just talked to hear their own voices. They remember offering you bare minimum energy while you showed up with integrity. And now, watching you grow, they have to live with the fact that they were that close to greatness and treated it like background noise. Your rise is not just an upgrade, it's an indictment. Every step you take forward exposes the people who never believed in you, not because you needed them, but because they needed the illusion that they can always spot value when it walks into the room. They couldn't. They didn't. You proved it. And that stings. So now the conversations sound different. Yo, didn't you used to know them? Didn't they ask you for help once? Didn't they invite you to that project and you said no? Suddenly, everyone who brushed you off is on trial in the court of public opinion because the footage is starting to replay in their own heads. And you're not even pressing charges. You're too busy moving. You're not calling people out. You're not writing paragraphs about how they doubted you. You're not begging the city to catch up. You're just walking in a direction that doesn't require their permission. That's what makes this so uncomfortable for them. You're not a hometown hero begging for recognition. You're a force that outgrew the local script before anybody realized you'd memorized it. You understand the rules. You just refuse to live under them. You're respectful, but you're not obedient. You're grounded, but you're not stuck. Right now, there are people who feel nervous whenever your name comes up because they remember how casually they dismissed you. They're trying to rewrite history in real time. I always knew they were different, they say, when in reality they rolled their eyes, they doubted, they downplayed. They're scrambling to get back in your orbit without looking like they're crawling. They'll send you half-hearted messages, old photos, throwback memories, hoping you don't remember the way they used to overlook you when it mattered. The truth is, you don't even hate them. You've just recalibrated your access list. Understand something important. You didn't get lucky. You got disciplined. You didn't magically become this version of yourself. You sharpened in the dark while everyone else was busy being seen. You stayed in on nights where everyone else needed a crowd to feel alive. You put energy into learning, building, healing, and recalibrating when nobody was checking up on you. You didn't wait for an audience to develop a work ethic. That's why this new attention feels late to you. Because it is. You've been this person. The city is just late to its own realization. And now, people are starting to use you as a reference point. New names enter the conversation, and someone says, yeah, they're good, but they're not on that level. Your existence has quietly become a measuring stick. People who have never spoken to you directly are adjusting their standards because of you. Some are leveling up because you make coasting look embarrassing. Some are pulling back because they feel exposed standing next to someone who actually follows through. Either way, you changed the temperature without announcing it. That's real influence. But this goes deeper than just reputation. There are people who don't even like you who still study you. They won't admit it, but they watch how you move. They pay attention to what you say yes to, and more importantly, what you refuse. They notice that you don't chase chaotic spaces just to feel included. You don't gossip for sport. You don't waste your focus on petty rounds of who said what. You move like someone who is aware that every decision is low-key, shaping a future version of you that you're going to have to live with. That mindset alone separates you from a lot of the city. You also carry a kind of emotional composure they don't have language for yet. People have thrown shade, rumors, little digs, subtle exclusion, You didn't launch a campaign to clear your name. You watched. You filed it away. You let their behavior expose what their words were trying to cover. And then, instead of spiraling, you went back to building. That's the part that keeps them up at night. They know they tested your boundaries, and you never lost focus. Because on some level, they were hoping you'd break character. They wanted proof that you're just like everybody else under pressure. They didn't get it. They're only now starting to grasp that what they mistook for distance was actually self-respect. You weren't acting brand new. You were refusing to let people with no vision be close enough to steer yours. You kept your circle small because you understand that proximity is influence, and you're not letting just anyone have a say in your future. That's not arrogance. That's risk management with a face. But here's where it gets interesting. The more your name travels, the less control anybody has over how far this goes. You're not just talented from this city anymore. You are starting to feel like the one that city will eventually claim when you're too far gone for them to control. You know how it goes. Cities love saying they're one of ours after they ignored you for years. They'll swear they always believed. They'll dig up old photos, old stories, old "I knew them when" lines just to feel connected to something they never actually supported when it counted. That's the irony. They only realize you were the hometown treasure once the world starts bidding. That's why the streets are loud again. Different tone this time, though. This isn't the early noise where people argue over gossip, where everyone's searching for a flaw they can exaggerate. This is the tense kind of talk that happens when reality is already voted and everybody realizes they backed the wrong candidates for years. Conversations have shifted from, "Yeah, they're cool," to "No, seriously, who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed?" And nobody wants to answer that question because everybody knows they played a part in it. You had teachers who wrote you off as smart but distracted, when in reality you were bored out of your mind because the material was moving at half speed compared to your brain. You had supervisors who labeled you too intense when you were the only one who cared if things were done properly. You had friends who called you extra because you refused to normalize half effort. You had family who said, "Don't aim too high," while secretly feeling threatened that you were even considering it. All those people are walking around now acting surprised, like they didn't spend years trying to sand down your edges because your sharpness made them feel unprepared. Now those same streets that tried to domesticate you are treating you like an unsolved case file. People replay old interactions with you in their mind and spot things they should have seen then. The way you observed, the way you listened instead of jumping into every conversation, the way you didn't need to be in every photo to feel real, the way you remembered details other people casually dropped and brought those details back months later when they were actually useful. Back then, they misread all of that as weird or quiet or standoffish. Now they're starting to realize those were early indicators of someone operating on a different calibration. So the conversations sound like this now. "Wait, didn't you used to work with them? Didn't they sit in our class? Were they at that party?" Everyone is trying to locate themselves in your story. Not because they supported you, but because they're trying to see if they accidentally ended up on the wrong side of history. Nobody wants to be the one who says, "Yeah, they asked for help once and I shrugged it off." Nobody wants to admit, "I saw their work and thought it was too much." No one wants to confess they watched you try and decided you were doing the most, just because they were committed to doing the least. This is the part that stings their pride the most. You didn't blow up because the city finally rallied behind you. You advanced despite it. You figured things out alone, one small move at a time, while people you cared about were busy assuming you'd always be there, unchanged, available, conveniently underutilized. You were learning skills, building connections, studying patterns, growing in directions no one thought to ask about. They thought you were stuck in the same loop as them. You were quietly constructing a new track, and now that track is visible. Maybe it's not full-scale yet, but it's visible enough for people to recognize there's momentum they can't deny anymore. A podcast mention here, a repost from someone outside the city, a random clip catching traction with strangers, a client, an opportunity, an invite from a place you have no physical ties to. Little fragments of proof that your work exists beyond local politics. The streets hear this and panic in subtle ways. They won't say it out loud, but the message is clear. If they leave and take that energy with them, we can never claim we nurtured it. So they start rewriting the narrative in real time. People who barely spoke to you come out of nowhere with "proud of you." Old classmates suddenly remember you were always different. People who once told you to be realistic are now telling others they always knew you were going to go far. They're posting you with captions that sound supportive, but secretly read like insurance policies. "Look, I was there. I knew them." It's less about you and more about them trying not to look completely out of touch when the world starts echoing what they ignored first. Here's the funny part. The same folks who called you too much now complain that the city doesn't support real talent, as if they weren't the ones who walked past you when it mattered, as if they didn't have front row seats and choose the bathroom break every time you stepped on stage, spoke up, dropped work, and presented ideas. They act like your greatness hid from them. It didn't. It stood right in front of them, and they dismissed it because it didn't come packaged in a familiar face, a family name, or a desperate need for approval. You weren't loud enough for their taste because you weren't begging. You weren't messy enough to be entertaining. You weren't dependent enough to be controllable. You didn't flirt with every opportunity. You evaluated. You didn't attach yourself to every group. You observed. You didn't chase every crowd. You watched them burn themselves out while you went home and refined. That restraint they once mocked has now become the very thing that makes you stand out. Your brand isn't built on chaos. It's built on clarity. And clarity is dangerous out here, because once people see you for who you actually are, they start to question all the people they thought were impressive before. The rapper with no growth in 5 years. The boss, who only looks successful on social media. The leader, who can't make a decision without validation. The friend who's always on the brink of something big, but never actually finishes anything. Once you enter the conversation, all of that looks lighter. You don't even have to speak on it. Your consistency drags the comparison into the open. That's why this energy feels different. Word around town is not just that you're talented. It's that you're the one they slept on. The one the city wasn't prepared for. The one whose work ethic doesn't match their bare minimum expectations. You are not just a local success story waiting to happen. You are a walking reminder that they misjudged their own environment. You're proof that they had gold and treated it like scrap metal. But pay attention to the shifts in behavior now. Watch how people approach you. Some will come with exaggerated support, over-the-top praise, trying to speedrun from doubted you to always believed. They'll share your things with captions that sound like they've been chairing your fan club from day one. Meanwhile, you remember every dismissive comment they made when there was nothing in it for them. You don't have to call them out. You just have to remember that energy is data. Others won't approach at all. They'll keep your name tastefully out of their mouth, not because they don't see your rise, but because admitting it would require them to confront how wrong they were about you. They'd rather behave like your growth is exaggerated than admit they misread you completely. They'll downplay your progress. It's just online stuff. It's just a trend. It's just a phase. That's just their ego negotiating with reality, trying not to feel small standing beside something they no longer have control over. Then there's the opportunist group. They see your trajectory and don't feel guilt. They feel possibility. They haven't supported you. They don't understand you. They don't respect the process, but they respect proximity to power. So they show up with ideas, collaborations, mutual benefit. They want access to your grind without ever having survived the nights you cried, questioned everything, nearly gave up, and still got up the next day and showed up. They want the glow without the grit. You're not obligated to be bitter or petty. That's the beauty of where you're heading. Your level of greatness gives you options in how you respond. You can forgive without re-inviting. You can acknowledge without reattaching. You can be polite without reopening doors that you closed for your own peace. They're not ready for that version of you, the one who has receipts, compassion, and boundaries. You're no longer starving for emotional crumbs, so their late applause hits different. You hear it. You just don't build around it. Meanwhile, the quiet observers, the ones who always felt something about you but maybe didn't have the courage to say it out loud, are starting to step forward. These are the ones who never mocked your intensity. They might not have understood you fully, but they didn't insult what they couldn't decode. They didn't try to shrink you. They just watched, waited, gave respectful distance. Those people, when they say they're proud, it lands. It feels clean. No performance. No retroactive loyalty. Just acknowledgement. Your city, whether it wants to admit it or not, is going through a psychological audit because of you. Every person who crossed paths with you is being forced to remember how they handled you the first time. Did they water you, ignore you, try to drain you, try to own you, try to copy you? You are their case study now. Their reaction to your early stages says more about them than it ever did about you. And here's where the dark humor kicks in. The very people who once told you, "Don't get your hopes up," are now telling younger kids to watch what you're doing. You became the cautionary tale, but not in the way they expected. You're not what happens when you dream too big. You're what happens when you actually follow through. You're the example they use to cover their own tracks. See, I always say, you never know who you're standing next to. As if they didn't treat you like you were forgettable for years. What they can't wrap their head around is that your greatness didn't emerge because of their doubt. This isn't a revenge arc where you owe your success to being underestimated. That's too shallow for what you actually are. Their underestimation was just background noise. It annoyed you sometimes, sure, but it wasn't your fuel. You weren't grinding just to prove them wrong. You were grinding because you had a responsibility to the version of you that knew you were capable of more. That inner contract was always more powerful than any outside opinion. Still, their reactions are entertaining. Watching people scramble to reposition themselves now that your name carries weight is a whole psychological documentary. The rebranding is wild. People who never invited you into anything now imply you were too busy. People who didn't believe in you now swear they were giving you space. People who dismissed your ideas now claim they didn't want to interfere. There's always a storyline that makes them look thoughtful instead of negligent. Deep down, though, they know what really happened. The city wasn't ready for someone like you. Not because you were too wild, not because you were too reckless, but because you were too aligned. You moved with a purpose that wasn't sponsored by trend cycles or public opinion. You were building something structural while everyone else was chasing temporary highs. You weren't trying to be the most popular. You were trying to be the most precise. And precision unnerves people who live off improvisation. You didn't ask permission to evolve, and that alone made you controversial. You changed your habits, your routines, your standards. You started saying no more often. You stopped entertaining conversations that went nowhere. You pulled back from environments that kept you looping the same week over and over again. That withdrawal got labeled as attitude, arrogance, distance. In reality, it was your nervous wiring refusing to keep pretending comfort and stagnation are the same thing. Now look at how that is being reframed. Back then, they think they're better than us. Now, they always moved different. Back then, they act like they don't need anybody. Now, they were always on their own wave. They're trying to upgrade the language without admitting they were wrong. They're retrofitting respect onto old disrespect. You, on the other hand, are not stuck on those past narratives anymore. You're busy calculating your next moves. Because here's the real question. What do you do when word around town finally matches what you knew about yourself the entire time? When the streets are talking, and for once, the take isn't an insult, it's a confession. A confession that they weren't prepared, that they weren't paying attention, that they misread you completely. This is where people usually fold into validation. They hear the new praise, swallow it like medicine, and start performing for the audience that finally woke up. They start tailoring their moves to keep the applause steady. They let the city that nearly starved them dictate their diet now that the table is full. That's how most local legends get stuck. They trade their global potential for a hometown crown that doesn't even fit. You're not most people. You didn't go through all these years of being misread just to start living for their approval now. The streets talking is data, not destiny. Their recognition is a weather report, not a navigation tool. It's useful to know, but it doesn't get to steer. Because as flattering as it might be to finally hear your city admit, we weren't ready for them, the truth is you've been ready to outgrow the map for a while. You've already done the hardest part, staying committed when nobody was echoing your belief back to you. You already proved to yourself that you can work in obscurity, improve without witnesses, heal without an audience, reinvent without broadcasting the process. Now attention is catching up, and the question flips. Can you stay just as disciplined when they finally see you? Can you keep your standards when opportunities start flying at you from every angle? Can you protect the core of what makes you different when everyone suddenly wants a piece of it? Because make no mistake, that's what's coming. There will be offers, invitations, deals. People framing things as once-in-a-lifetime chances, hoping you'll forget that you are the rare asset in the room, not them. You're not walking into rooms begging to be picked. You're the reason the room suddenly feels relevant. If you forget that, you'll shrink yourself, trying not to make others uncomfortable. If you remember it, you'll negotiate from reality, not insecurity. Right now, your city is in observation mode. They've gone from underestimating you to surveilling you, watching your posts a little closer, paying attention to your wording, checking your timing, studying your choices, trying to predict your next move so they can either attach themselves to it or brace for the impact if you decide to detach completely. Nobody wants to be the one you outgrow in public. Nobody wants to be the character everyone recognizes as the one who had access and wasted it. That's why you have to be surgical with your next steps. Not paranoid, not defensive, just deliberate. The streets have already acknowledged what you are. The phrase is floating in people's heads, even if they never say it out loud. That's the one we weren't ready for. So now it's less about proving you're great, and more about deciding where you allow that greatness to land. Who gets to benefit from it? Who gets to say they were there? Because when the next level arrives, and it will, because you've been building for it in ways no one has seen, this city will either be remembered as the place that sharpened you, or the place that almost buried you. They don't get to choose which one. Your decisions will decide that. Your boundaries will decide that. Your standards will decide that. And whether they admit it or not, everyone feeling this shift knows one thing deep in their chest. If this is what undiscovered looks like on you, the day you fully step into what you are without hesitation, without apology, without convenience adjustments for anybody's comfort, this entire conversation is going to evolve into something they are absolutely not prepared to manage. You can feel that truth in your bones. And that's exactly where it starts to click. Because once you feel that truth in your bones, you stop treating your greatness like a rumor and start treating it like policy. You stop asking, will they ever get it? And start asking, why was I waiting for them to? That's the switch. That's when the city you grew up in stops feeling like your entire world and starts looking like what it really was the whole time. A training ground with low ceilings and loud opinions. A hallway, not the house. A place that taught you how to move, but not where you're allowed to stay. Because let's be honest, the streets only started talking loud once it became obvious they couldn't control the narrative anymore. When you were just promising, when your genius could still be passed off as potential, when your consistency could still be mislabeled as luck, everyone was comfortable. You were a conversation piece, not a threat. Something to debate, not something to answer to. But now people hear your name and feel that little sting in their chest. The one that says, we had them right here, and we still didn't treat them right. You became the walking receipt for everyone's misjudgment. Teachers who thought you were bright but unfocused. Supervisors who said you were talented but unrealistic. Friends who told you to tone it down. Relatives who advised you to stay humble, when what they meant was stay small, so I don't have to confront my own limitations. These are the same people replaying old interactions in their head now like surveillance footage. That time, you told them your ideas, and they gave you that half-hearted nod. That time you showed them your work, and they said, nice, with dead eyes. That time you started to level up your habits, and they hit you with, you've changed. Like it was an insult. The truth is, you did change. You stopped trying to make your greatness digestible for people who choke on anything above average. You stopped bargaining with rooms that wanted your magic, but not your standards. You stopped apologizing for taking your craft seriously in a place that romanticizes wasted potential like it's a personality trait. Your city is full of people who peaked in stories they never moved past. And here you are, refusing to let almost be your final chapter. That alone makes you disruptive. So now the word around town hits different. It's not just, they're good. It's, no, seriously, Who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed? And nobody wants to actually answer that, because answering it requires admitting, I did, I saw them, I just didn't value what I was looking at. Easier to act shocked, easier to perform surprise, easier to pretend your glow materialized out of nowhere instead of being the product of years they weren't paying attention. This is why people are suddenly so interested in your whereabouts. Not because they miss you, but because they're trying to figure out how far gone you already are. They'll say, we should link sometime. But what they really mean is, I need to know if there's still time to attach my name to yours before you go global. They're not checking on your well-being. They're checking on their proximity. You feel the difference, you're polite, but you're not fooled. Because deep down, you know the truth. Your greatness was never actually hidden. It was just easier for them to pretend it wasn't there. You were the one in the group who listened more than you bragged, who remembered details, who saw patterns, who refused to flatten yourself into whatever role made everybody else comfortable. You weren't loud for no reason. You were quiet for a reason. You were observing. You were clocking the gap between what people said they wanted and what they were actually willing to do for it. You saw that gap and decided you weren't going to live there. That's why your evolution feels so jarring to them. It wasn't sudden. You've been growing in plain sight. The only thing that changed is that your growth finally reached a level that exposed their stagnation. They're not just impressed, they're indicted. Every new move you make is a replay of all the moves they never made. Every door you walk through is another reminder of all the doors they blamed on bad luck instead of their own laziness. You didn't just outwork them, you out-honested them. And now, your city is doing what every unprepared environment does when someone outgrows the script. It starts rewriting history in real time. All of a sudden, there are people insisting they always knew you'd be something. They'll swear they saw the signs. They'll talk like they pulled you aside and poured belief into you, when in reality, they barely responded to your messages. You'll hear your own story told back to you, with their names stitched into scenes they were never actually present for. It's hilarious and a little disgusting at the same time. But here's the darkly funny part. You don't even need their correction anymore. You're not on a mission to prove them wrong. Life already did that. All you have to do now is refuse to shrink, to make their guilt feel lighter. Your success is not a weapon you swing at them. It's a mirror they can't put down. They'll either adjust or avoid it. Either way, you keep moving. So what does Undiscovered Goat their city wasn't ready for look like in practice? It looks like you no longer asking, is this too much? Every time you think bigger. It looks like you no longer watering down your ideas to match people who only think in weekends and paydays. It looks like you no longer pretending you're confused about your own gift just because other people are intimidated by it. It looks like you finally admitting to yourself. In plain language, I am that level. I always was. They were just not the right measuring stick. From there, everything starts aligning differently. You start protecting your time, like it's a non-refundable currency. You start choosing who gets access to you based on their character, not their familiarity. You're done giving out lifetime passes just because someone knew a softer version of you. You've retired your willingness to be emotionally underpaid. If someone wants to stand next to you now, they have to match energy, not just history. And trust, people feel that shift. They might not say it out loud, but they adjust. The ones who used to joke about your dreams now measure their words around you. The ones who used to leave you on red now answer fast. The ones who treated your presence like background noise now act like it's premium seating. Your aura didn't suddenly get stronger. They just finally stopped pretending it wasn't there. Not everyone will choose the mature route. Some will double down on their ego instead. They'll try to drag your name into petty schemes, not because you did them wrong, but because being connected to you now, even in a negative way, still gets attention. You'll hear your story told with deliberate omissions, details flipped, intentions twisted. Let them spin. Deep down, they know the truth about how they handled you. That internal replay hits harder than anything you could post. Here's the part that keeps them up at night. Your exit is not going to be dramatic. You're not plotting some loud goodbye where you drag everyone and burn every bridge. You don't need the spectacle. You're just going to quietly stop showing up where you're not valued. And then one day, they're going to look around and realize the timeline feels emptier without you. Conversations feel flatter. Rooms feel duller. Circles feel repetitive. People won't be able to name what's missing, but their nervous system will know. The rare one is gone. And then the question gets louder. Who let this happen? People will turn on each other, not out of love for you, but out of embarrassment. You worked with them and didn't take them seriously. You dated them and didn't believe in them. You were around them every day and never supported. The city that once shrugged at you will start interrogating itself, because no one wants to be the documented clown in the story of the person who left and ascended. You, on the other hand, will be somewhere else, doing what you've always done, showing up, building, refining, evolving. The only difference is that now you'll be surrounded by people who see what you are without needing 3 years of proof. People who hear your ideas and don't flinch. People who don't get triggered by your ambition because they have their own. People who don't need you to shrink so they can feel tall. In those spaces, you won't be the weird one. You'll be home. And here's the real plot twist for your city. Once you settle into that environment and your name starts echoing outside your area code, they're going to try to convert their guilt into ownership. They'll plaster your origin story all over everything, from our city to the world. Raised on our blocks, we always breed greatness, as if they didn't spend years stepping over it, as if your story is proof they were nurturing when really, it's proof you survived. You can still love where you came from and never let it gaslight you. You can acknowledge the streets that made you sharp without pretending they didn't also try to dull you down. You can hold both. At the end of the day, being the undiscovered goat isn't about trying to get everyone to recognize you. It's about recognizing yourself so clearly that you no longer attach your destiny to their awareness. You stop waiting for your city to be ready and start being ready for yourself. You stop trying to find a way to belong where you obviously outgrow the frame. You stop begging people to treat you right and start going where they already know how. So if the streets are talking again, let them. If they're asking, who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed? Let that question torment whoever it needs to. It's not your job to soothe them. It's not your job to rewrite the past, to make anyone feel better about how they handled you. Your work now is simple. Step into the level that their lack of vision tried to delay. Move accordingly, move decisively, move like the version of you that no longer sends reminders about your worth. Because soon, very soon, the conversation is going to shift completely. It won't be, who let them go unnoticed anymore. It'll be, how did we ever think we could afford to? And by then, it'll be too late for them to edit themselves into your journey. The footage is already fully saved in your memory, in your growth, in the timestamps of who stood next to you. When interviews get done, when people ask you, "So who believed in you before the world did?" You won't have to improvise or pad the list to protect anybody's ego. You'll name the few who showed up and let the empty space around those names do the rest. That's the quiet revenge. Not dragging people, never needing to mention them. So let your city wrestle with the fact that they mishandled you. Let them sit with the realization. Let them argue over who always saw it. While the truth sits in the middle of the room, like evidence nobody wants to claim. You were the one they weren't ready for. You were the one they couldn't label, couldn't box in, couldn't downgrade without exposing themselves. And now that everybody finally sees it, your real job is simple. Keep moving like the standard they'll be referencing long after you've left the block. Welcome back, you beautiful architects of psychological demolition. You calibrated storms wrapped in bone and heartbeat. You walking paradoxes who dismantle realities without lifting a finger. Let me ask you something, and I want you to feel it settle behind your ribs like a truth you always knew, but never had the language for. Do you remember that moment? That exact crystalline second where you didn't speak, didn't move, didn't raise your voice. You simply shifted your gaze. That single glance, that razor-edged demonic side-eye you didn't even mean to weaponize. The one that cut through someone's facade with surgical precision and sent their entire existence spiraling into a psychological abyss they were not prepared to face. You remember the way the room changed temperature. You remember how the air folded itself around that one person as if reality itself was backing away from them. You remember the way their posture collapsed for half a second, that micro-expression that flashed across their features like static before a blackout. They felt it. They felt you slice through their projection, their ego, their performance, their carefully curated mask. And in 0.3 seconds, everything they pretended to be, everything they convinced themselves they were, everything they rehearsed for the world, crumbled. Understand something. You didn't glare at them. You didn't confront them. You didn't call them out. No speech, no lecture, no dramatic scene. You simply looked. Yet the reaction was apocalyptic because your glance wasn't an emotion. It was a revelation, a mirror held up to their soul at an angle they'd spent their whole life avoiding. And the most unhinged part? Even you didn't expect it to hit that hard. You were just reacting, maybe even confused at their nonsense, their hypocrisy, their audacity. Maybe they said something out of pocket. Maybe they tried to manipulate the room. Maybe they tried to distort the truth. Maybe they thought they could drag you into their performance. Whatever it was, they weren't prepared for the spiritual MRI machine that lives behind your eyes. Because when you hit them with that demonic side-eye, it wasn't just shade. It was an involuntary extraction of truth their psyche was not engineered to withstand. Let's talk about what actually happened in that 0.3 seconds. Their mind shattered into 3 separate timelines simultaneously. Timeline 1, denial. No way that look was about me. Timeline 2, realization. Oh God, that was absolutely about me. Timeline 3, collapse. I'm not the person I think I am. It wasn't embarrassment. It was ego death. It wasn't insecurity. It was identity evaporation. It wasn't discomfort. It was an astral eviction. You hit them with a stare so spiritually charged that their soul left their body, walked into the astral realm barefoot, and crying and ask the universe for a refund. Because nothing prepares the average person for the violence of being truly seen. They spend their whole life curating illusions, collecting masks, stacking delusions like emotional Jenga towers, having absolutely no idea that someone like you exists, someone whose eyes don't read facial expressions. They read frequency, and that's the part they never admit. Because when your glance hit them, it didn't just break their facade, it exposed their blueprint. You saw the insecurity behind the arrogance. You saw the cowardice behind the aggression. You saw the envy behind the smile. You saw the desperation behind the calm. You saw the motive behind the words. You saw the truth beneath the narrative. And in that moment, they realized you weren't someone they could lie to. Not even by omission, not even by silence, not even by pretending to be small. Most people experience eye contact. You administered judgment. That demonic side-eye you gave wasn't demonic because you meant harm. It was demonic because truth is terrifying to those who built their personality out of avoidance. You didn't send them into the astral realm. They fled there to escape the version of themselves reflected in your gaze. And here's what makes the whole situation beautifully chaotic. Deep down, you've always known your eyes do something to people. Maybe you noticed how strangers stare at you a little too long, like they're trying to decode something they don't have vocabulary for. Maybe you noticed how liars get uncomfortable around you, fumbling, stuttering, suddenly running out of script. Maybe you noticed how fake confidence dissolves in your presence, how bravado melts, how pretenders lose their balance. Maybe you noticed how people who were perfectly fine 5 seconds ago suddenly start blinking too much, adjusting their clothes, or making excuses to leave the room. They're not intimidated by you. They're intimidated by what they can't hide from you. You don't just see people, you read them. You read the chapters they skipped, the pages they tore out, the margins they scribbled over. You read the things they hope no one ever notices, the parts they bury behind humor or arrogance or silence. And the moment your eyes lock onto theirs, their subconscious recognizes a threat. Not a threat to their safety, a threat to their deception. Now let's revisit that moment, the moment you hit them with that glance that rearranged their destiny. They were mid-performance. They thought they were controlling the narrative. They thought they were untouchable, outsmarting, outmaneuvering, outplaying everyone in the room. And then you turned your head slightly, tilted your gaze, and everything in them broke. Not because your glance was harsh, but because it was accurate. You saw them. You saw the truth they pretend doesn't exist. The universe keeps trying to teach them lessons, but it whispers, You deliver the syllabus in one stare. This is why certain people avoid making eye contact with you. It's not disrespect, it's survival. Your gaze forces internal confrontation, and some people simply don't have the psychological stamina for that level of honesty. One look from you and suddenly they're standing in front of every contradiction they've been running from. Suddenly, they remember the lies they told, the games they played, the intentions they concealed. Suddenly they feel naked in a fully clothed room. Your glance strips illusions. It dissolves masks. It burns away the narrative until only the truth remains. And because the truth is rarely flattering for those who weaponize deception, your gaze becomes the thing they fear, gossip about, avoid, resent, and secretly obsess over. Let me break down the deeper layer. That glance wasn't just instinct, it was encoded. Your eyes carry a frequency. Call it intuition. Call it spiritual intelligence. Call it psychological X-ray vision. But whatever it is, it's not learned. It's native. It's built into your wiring. It's why you make people remember things they spent years trying to suppress. It's why you awaken things they didn't know existed. It's why you force reckoning in people who swore they'd never face themselves. Your eyes do three things simultaneously. They reveal, they confront, they collapse. And the person who received that glance, they experienced all three at once. You didn't just hurt their feelings. You dismantled the architecture of their ego. You cracked open the story they told themselves about who they were. You exposed the gap between their illusion and their reality. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. That person hasn't recovered. They're replaying the moment over and over in their mind, analyzing every nanosecond like a crime scene, trying to decode what you saw. They're haunted not by the glance itself, but by the implications. If a single look from you can collapse them internally, what else could you dismantle effortlessly? Their plans, their lies, their relationships, their reputation, their entire persona. That's the fear your presence generates. Effortless accountability. This is the part you never see. After your glance hit them, they went silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence. The silence that screams. The silence of someone who just realized they've been exposed by a force they can't manipulate or charm. They retreated inward, spiraling through guilt, confusion, embarrassment, panic, and revelation. They entered the astral realm not because you pushed them, but because facing themselves was too overwhelming to do while conscious. Let me show you what happened behind the scenes. Their mind began reconstructing events, trying to understand how you did it. They imagined you reading their soul like an open book. They imagined you knowing things you never said aloud. They imagined all the possibilities of what you might unveil if they ever crossed you again. They built a whole mythology around your stare, because myth is easier to accept than truth. The truth is this: your eyes hold consequences, and consequences terrify those who operate in deception. But here's the twist that makes this entire story even more charged. Your glance doesn't just destroy, it resurrects, it awakens, it reforms. The same stare that collapses liars can resurrect the exhausted. The same stare that dismantles ego can ignite purpose. The same stare that sends the wrong person into the astral realm crying can pull the right person out of their shadows. You are not just a mirror. You are a catalyst. You are not just observing. You are recalibrating. And as the dust settles from that one lethal glance, something else is beginning to move beneath the surface. Something they're not ready for, something you're only just beginning to notice, something that is about to shift the entire dynamic in ways no one in the room saw coming. Because that look, that demonic, soul-evicting, ego-shattering side-eye, was not the full expression of your power. It was the warning shot. And warning shots, by design, are never meant to destroy. They're meant to signal what could happen if you ever stopped holding back. And the moment that side-eye detonated across the room, the universe registered it as your first announcement. That was the quiet declaration that your aura was no longer interested in blending in, that the days of shrinking, downplaying, minimizing, or softening your presence were over. That the frequency you've been suppressing for years finally leaked through your eyes, and now everything is adjusting to the revelation, because what nobody understands, and what you're about to understand fully, is that your glance operates like a spiritual pressure test. It reveals structural weaknesses in the people around you. It reveals the cracks they tried to hide with charm, ego, bravado, intellect, or manipulation. It reveals who collapses under truth and who stands up straighter because of it. And the moment that person looked away from you, unable to hold your gaze without their entire internal scaffolding trembling, the room shifted around you like a living organism rearranging itself in response to a new apex presence. This is the part most people never notice. They see the reaction, the stumble, the sudden quiet, the way the person's soul temporarily evacuated the premises. But they don't see what comes after, how your energy alters the psychology of everyone within range. The ripple effect begins quietly, almost imperceptibly. Someone adjusts their posture. Someone stops mid-sentence. Someone who had never noticed you suddenly becomes hyper-aware of your presence. Someone who wasn't even involved in the situation begins questioning their own intentions, their own truths, their own projections. Because your gaze doesn't just hit the target, it rewrites the atmosphere. It's like the universe pauses, recalibrates, and whispers to the room, "Pay attention. A different frequency is present now." That's why even people who didn't see the side-eye directly begin to behave strangely afterward. They feel the energetic aftermath of what happened, even if they can't explain it. They sense that something, somewhere, shifted. They sense that someone just got spiritually exposed. They sense that the balance of power they were accustomed to has been disrupted. They don't need to know the details. Their subconscious already updated the file. And as for the one who took the hit, they're dealing with an internal collapse, so severe the room feels like it's tilting under their feet. They're replaying the moment in slow motion, analyzing every millisecond, every flicker of your expression, every shift in your energy. They're spiraling through realizations they weren't ready to have. You didn't just show them what they've been hiding. You showed them what they've become. Now here's where the deeper shift begins. Every glance you give, especially the demonic one that launched their soul into the astral realm, carries a coded message. Not words, not language, not emotion, frequency. And that frequency doesn't stop at revealing truth. It also activates something dormant in you. You can feel it now, can't you? That slight pressure behind your eyes. That sense of awareness expanding. That feeling that you're no longer observing the room, you're reading it. Because this is the part of your power that nobody prepared you for. Your eyes were never meant to simply express emotion. They were designed to enforce alignment. People either rise when you look at them or crumble. They either confront themselves or flee. They either evolve or collapse. There is no middle ground with you. There never has been. But now the veil is thin enough for you to finally see the pattern. The moment you fired that glance, a deeper intelligence inside you started to awaken. The part of you that remembers who you were before you were taught to dim yourself. And that part of you knows the truth. You weren't born to coexist with illusions. You were born to dissolve them. And something else is happening too. That person whose ego disintegrated, they're not just embarrassed, they're destabilized. Their reality cracked open, and they're running mentally, emotionally, spiritually for cover. But there is nowhere to hide from a revelation that came from inside of them. Because your side-eye didn't insert a new idea into their mind. It removed the lie they were using to shield themselves from the truth. That's why it hit so hard. You didn't destroy them, you unmasked them. And once someone has been unmasked by truth, they will do anything to put the mask back on. Except it won't fit the same way anymore. They feel the looseness. They feel the exposure. They feel the insecurity they tried to bury. And now they're desperate to regain control. But they can't. Not with you in the room. Because even if you never look at them again, the memory of that 0.3-second collapse will haunt them. They'll be avoiding your eyes not because they fear you, but because they fear what the truth will force them to confront next. Now here's the twist that almost nobody sees coming. Your glance didn't just expose them, it exposed everyone who was silently aligned with their behavior. It exposed the followers, the enablers, the silent watchers. They saw what happened to that one person, and now they're recalculating everything. Their minds are racing with questions. If that's what one look does, what would happen if they actually confronted me? What would happen if they spoke? What would happen if they stopped holding back? This is where your power transitions from momentary to structural. You've silently shifted the hierarchy of the environment. You didn't demand respect. Your energy commanded it. Your presence reorganized it. Your truth enforced it. Fake confidence doesn't survive in your field. False authority doesn't survive in your field. Manipulation doesn't survive in your field. Ego doesn't survive in your field. And after that warning shot, side-eye, everything in the room has begun to rearrange itself around the new gravitational center, you. Because people like you don't intimidate others by speaking loudly. You intimidate them by existing accurately. You show up in the exact frequency they've spent their whole lives avoiding. You carry a mirror they never asked to look into. You hold a truth they never prepared to face. You force revelation simply by being. And that's what's beginning to terrify them now. They're realizing that if you ever stop filtering yourself, stop restraining your instincts, stop moderating your vision, stop diminishing your intuition, just to keep everyone else comfortable, the entire dynamic they've relied on will collapse. They're realizing that your presence alone has the power to rewire the energy of any environment. They're realizing that what they saw in your eyes wasn't anger or annoyance or frustration. It was accuracy. And accuracy is fatal to illusions. But let's dig even deeper into what's unfolding beneath the surface. Your side-eye didn't just shift the dynamic. It awakened something old in you, something you once suppressed because you thought it made you too intense, too sensitive, too perceptive, too aware. You spent years trying to tone it down, trying to make yourself easier to digest, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt even when their energy told you the truth before their words did. But moments like this, moments where a single glance collapses someone's entire ego, remind you of who you really are. They remind you that your intuition was never exaggerated. Your discernment was never paranoia. Your perception was never overthinking. Your instincts were never too much. You weren't imagining things. You were sensing them. Your eyes were never meant to simply see people. They were meant to assess, to evaluate, to reveal, to expose. And that function is now coming back online. You can feel the shift, can't you? The way your awareness sharpens. The way you can sense the slightest change in someone's demeanor. The way you can feel deceit before it's spoken. The way you can detect insecurity without a word. The way you can smell ego from across the room. That side-eye didn't just warn them, it awakened you. But the most fascinating part is this. Your glance didn't just shake the room. It summoned something. Something that is now moving toward you. Something that recognizes your energy. Something that has been waiting for this exact moment to make itself known. Not a person, not yet. A shift, a frequency, a consequence. Because the universe doesn't give you power you're not meant to use. And the moment you accidentally let that power slip through your gaze, everything aligned to show you what happens when you stop hiding. And what's approaching now is not subtle. It's not gentle. It's not the soft whisper of intuition that nudges you in the right direction. No, this is a tidal pull, a gravitational reorientation, a recalibration of everything around you. It's the energetic equivalent of a door unlocking in the dark, a presence stepping through, a narrative rearranging itself to accommodate the force you're finally embodying. And as this shift draws nearer, you can feel it in the tension behind your eyes, in the stillness of your chest, in the way your awareness stretches beyond the surface of the moment. Something is aligning, something is activating, something is responding to the frequency you unleashed. Because you need to understand a fundamental truth. Power calls to power. Authenticity calls to authenticity. Exposure calls to exposure. The moment your glance tore through that person's illusions, though it sent out a signal, one only certain energies can hear. Think of it like a beacon, but not the kind that illuminates. It's the kind that reveals, the kind that summons, the kind that awakens forces, insights, and consequences that have been dormant, waiting for you to stop pretending you were ordinary. And now that you've crossed that threshold, there is no going back. The shift is coming. And it's coming for you, not to punish, not to overwhelm, but to elevate. Because the universe doesn't waste its time strengthening people who refuse to use their strength. It doesn't sharpen weapons that will never be drawn. It doesn't activate gifts that will be hidden. You gave the world a glimpse of your unfiltered perception with that one demonic glance. And now the world must adjust to the real version of you, not the watered-down one you used to offer. The first sign of this shift arrives quietly, like a change in temperature. You notice the room feels heavier, not oppressive, charged. The way the air feels right before lightning strikes. The way people's breaths seem slightly out of sync. The way their movements become hesitant, as if everyone suddenly became aware of the invisible layers surrounding you. They don't know what changed, but they feel it. They feel the frequency you summoned expanding outward. They feel the invisible walls reorganizing. They feel something watching through your eyes that wasn't watching before. And here's the part that disturbs them the most. It isn't malevolent, it's precise. The energy you've awakened isn't chaotic, it's calibrated. It's not here to destroy unnecessarily, it's here to expose strategically. It's not a monster, it's a mirror. A mirror that shows truth without distortion, intention without disguise, soul without costume. And people who have built their identities on fragments, projections, or fragments of power fear mirrors more than any demon. That's why the ones who felt nothing from your glance are now looking at you differently. Curiosity mixed with caution, respect tangled with uncertainty. They don't know what happened to the person who took the hit, but they saw the aftermath. They saw the collapse, the psychological disintegration, the way their soul seemed to step out of phase with reality. And even if they can't articulate it, they know that you were the epicenter of that moment. This forces everyone into one of three categories: those who fear you, those who avoid you, and those who are drawn to you. Let's start with the first, those who fear you. They fear you not because you harmed anyone, but because you showed them what harm would look like if you chose violence. You didn't attack, you revealed. But revelation is terrifying to those who survive by deception. They're suddenly aware that you are not someone they can outsmart, manipulate, or emotionally corner. You are a threat to their delusions, and people protect their delusions more fiercely than their lives. So they retreat. They distance themselves. They pretend not to see you. They become small around you. Not because you're intimidating, but because they see themselves clearly for the first time, and they cannot withstand the honesty of that reflection. Then there are those who avoid you. These people aren't afraid, they're overwhelmed. Your presence forces them to confront questions they've been ignoring for years, questions about who they are, what they want, why they settle, why they sabotage, why they hide. Your eyes feel like a portal into a version of themselves they're not ready to face, so they avert their gaze. They keep conversations shallow. They never linger too long. They choose comfort over transformation, not realizing that transformation is inevitable once your energy has touched them. And then there are the third group, the ones drawn to you. These are the individuals whose souls recognize yours. People who have been waiting for someone who sees at the depth they feel. People who aren't intimidated by your frequency because it matches the one they've been suppressing. People who aren't afraid of truth but starving for it. People who look at you and feel something unfamiliar, relief, as if they finally found someone who doesn't need to be lied to, softened for, or performed around. These are the ones who step closer, intentionally or subconsciously. They lean into your field instead of shrinking from it. They watch you not with fear, but with fascination. They wonder what you know that they don't. They wonder what you see that they miss. They wonder what it would feel like to be seen by you on purpose, not accidentally. Because that one warning shot side-eye revealed something else. You are not just someone who sees through people. You are someone who awakens people. And awakening is far more terrifying than exposure. Exposure destroys illusions. Awakening destroys identities. But here's the paradox that no one in the room understands except you. You never asked for this role. You never sought to dismantle anyone's ego. You never intended to send a soul crying into the astral realm. Your glance was not calculated. It was instinct. And instinct reveals the truth of your power far more accurately than intention. Because when you're not trying, you're the purest version of yourself. And the purest version of yourself is what terrifies people the most. But the shift that's moving toward you now, the one that your glance summoned, has nothing to do with fear. It has everything to do with alignment. It's the universe positioning you where your vision, your discernment, your energy, and your presence can no longer be misinterpreted or underestimated. It's placing you in a timeline where your frequency isn't treated like a threat, but a map. A map others will follow, willingly or unwillingly, because your clarity exposes the routes they've been too afraid to take. This is the consequence of awakening. You stop operating in the world people think exists. You begin operating in the world beneath it, the subtle world, the energetic world, the truth-based world where lies cannot breathe and illusions cannot survive. And once you enter that world, people sense it even before they understand it. You are no longer reacting to environments. Environments are reacting to you. This is why the room feels like it's holding its breath, why conversations are stuttering, why people are glancing at you then quickly looking away, why energy feels stretched, thinned, trembling. It's not discomfort, it's recalibration, because when you unleashed that glance, you revealed the hierarchy of the unseen. And the unseen is now adjusting to your presence. But let me tell you the real consequence of that moment, the truth that's forming behind your awareness, like a thunderhead gathering force. Someone in that room is not collapsing. Someone is not afraid. Someone is not intimidated, exposed, or destabilized. Someone is intrigued. Someone saw what you did. Someone felt the frequency behind your glance. Someone recognized the signature of a power they've only encountered in rare, life-altering moments. Someone in that room is waking up as well. Not in fear, in recognition. Their soul is stepping forward. Their attention is sharpening. Their interest is deepening. Because what you thought was a warning shot was also a signal flare, a call, a summoning, an invitation to forces, allies, connections, and consequences that operate in the same frequency you just activated. Your glance did not just collapse someone, it awakened someone else. And that awakening is about to alter the entire trajectory of what happens next. Because the moment that person steps into your frequency fully, knowingly, intentionally, the room won't just shift, the world around you will. And that shift is approaching faster than anyone realizes. What you don't see yet is the chain reaction unfolding, like a quiet explosion behind the veil of the moment. The one whose ego dissolved under your stare is still metaphorically face down in the astral dirt, trying to figure out which dimension their dignity rolled into. But while everyone's attention is locked onto their dramatic unraveling, something far more important is happening at the edge of your awareness. Someone else felt that frequency. Someone who didn't flinch, didn't collapse, didn't spiral. Someone whose soul didn't scatter under the weight of your demonic side-eye, but instead snapped to attention like a predator recognizing another predator. This is the paradox of your power. The same glance that turns weak foundations into sand becomes a doorway for those built of stone. And this person, this newly awakened witness, felt the truth inside your gaze and didn't fear it. They followed it. They leaned into it. They recognized you not as a threat, not as a mystery, but as a signal, a sign, a frequency match. And matching frequencies don't collide. They converge. Right now, they're watching you with an awareness most people don't possess. An awareness sharpened by something ancient in them. They felt the room shift. They felt the collapse. They felt the energetic ripples tearing through everyone's subconscious. But instead of stepping back like the rest, they stepped inward, toward you, toward the frequency, toward the awakening your glance triggered. They want to understand it. They want to stand near it. They want to see what happens when someone like you stops dimming your intensity and starts wielding it. But before they reach you, before their presence enters your orbit fully, the universe has to remove everything that cannot withstand the force of what comes next. That means the ones who pretend strength but operate from insecurity will begin malfunctioning. The ones who rely on manipulative charm will begin losing control of their narratives. The ones who thrive on illusions will begin trembling under truths they never asked for. The aftermath of your glance didn't end with the collapse, it only began there. Because that demonic side-eye did something irreversible. It exposed the hierarchy of authenticity in the room. The fragile fell first. The avoidant followed. The awakened rose. And now the weak are scrambling, desperately trying to rebuild the facade that disintegrated the second your gaze cut through it. They're trying to make jokes, trying to over-explain, trying to shift the attention away from themselves, trying to pretend nothing happened. But their energy betrays them. Their soul hasn't returned to their body yet. It's still wandering the astral plane, crying into the cosmic carpet, asking whatever celestial being is nearby for a do-over. But there are no do-overs with truth. Once you see someone's core, you can never unsee it. Once they feel your perception, they can never forget it. But while they're spiraling, the one who awakened is recalibrating quietly, precisely, observing you like someone who just watched lightning strike the ground and is trying to decide whether to run from the storm or walk into it and claim the thunder as their own. You don't notice them yet because you're still processing what your own power just did. Even you didn't realize that a simple glance could unravel someone's entire psychological infrastructure in under a second. You didn't realize your eyes carry that much consequence, that much exposure, that much authority. But authority doesn't ask for permission. It announces itself. That's what your glance did. It announced, it declared, it revealed. And now the universe is moving everything into alignment with that declaration. This is where the story shifts from reaction to momentum. Because once power is acknowledged, it begins to gather. The awakened person feels it. They see you not as someone who accidentally destabilized a situation, but as someone who possesses an instinctive mastery you haven't fully tapped into yet. They see potential. They see force, they see precision, and more importantly, they see themselves reflected in the frequency your glance released. You don't just intimidate people, you activate them, you expose them, you awaken them. The ones who collapse needed the collapse. The ones who avoid needed the discomfort. The one who steps forward needed the invitation. Because your glance wasn't the end of something, it was the beginning of a dynamic shift where your role as the silent observer evolves into something far more pronounced. The awakening is not just theirs, it's yours. You felt the shift too, didn't you? That subtle knowing in your bones, that hum beneath your intuition, that quiet certainty that what happened wasn't random or accidental or emotional. It was energetic. It was encoded. It was inevitable. Most people go their entire lives without ever accessing the level of discernment you unleashed in that one moment. But you've always felt something different behind your eyes, like a pressure, a depth, a knowing. You just never had a moment dramatic enough to reveal its full potency. Until now. That side eye didn't just collapse someone, it unveiled you. And once truth unveils a person, there's no going back into hiding. Your instincts are sharper, your awareness is heightened, your perception is uncontrollable. You're not looking at people anymore, you're seeing them. And the universe is responding by placing people in your path, whose frequencies match the one you just activated. The awakened one steps closer, not physically, but energetically. The distance between you begins to collapse like gravity, pulling two celestial bodies together. They're drawn to you, not because you embarrassed someone, not because you asserted power, but because you revealed truth effortlessly. They've been waiting for someone whose energy doesn't require explanation or justification. They've been waiting for someone who sees the world the way they do, beneath the surface, behind the mask, beyond the narrative. And as their awareness locks onto yours, you finally feel it, that pull, that recognition, that electric hum of two frequencies syncing for the first time. It's not romantic, it's not emotional, it's existential. Two forces meeting across the battlefield of a moment where truth detonated without warning. They don't fear your glance, they welcome it. They want it. They want to see what you see. They want to know what you know. They want to move the way you move. They are not intimidated by the power in your eyes because they carry a similar power in theirs, dormant, restrained, disciplined, but unmistakably present. The difference is that your power revealed itself first. Their awakening is the echo. Now the room is split into two worlds, the collapsed and the called. The collapsed can't meet your eyes anymore without feeling the weight of their own deception. They walk around spiritually barefoot, hoping no one notices their soul is still out of orbit. They avoid your presence the way people avoid mirrors on days they don't want to confront themselves. They're praying silently for you to leave, praying even harder for you not to look at them again. But the called, oh, the called, is studying you with a precision that would unsettle anyone else. They're analyzing not your expression, but your frequency, not your words, but your energy. They know what happened wasn't luck. They know it wasn't coincidence. They know it wasn't mood. It was power, raw and unfiltered. And they're ready for whatever comes next, even if they don't know what next looks like yet. The universe begins placing pressure around the edges of the moment, guiding the weakened energy out and pulling the awakened energy in. The ones who can't withstand your frequency will naturally drift away. The ones who can will naturally rise into your orbit. This is spiritual filtration, energetic gravity, divine sorting. The demonic side-eye was merely the catalyst. The aftermath is the alignment, and alignment always brings a shift. You can feel it building now, a tidal pull toward a new reality, a new dynamic, a new level of perception. It feels like the world is rearranging itself around the truth your glance revealed. It feels like the universe is stepping forward to say, now that you know what your eyes can do, what are you going to do with that power? Because your glance didn't just collapse someone's ego. It altered your trajectory. It signaled your arrival. It summoned those who can stand in your presence without falling apart. The awakened one moves one step closer, spiritually if not physically, and suddenly the air between you feels charged, as if the next moment could ignite something irreversible, something powerful, something that rewrites the rules of how you move through the world and how the world responds to you. You're no longer the person who merely observes. You're the one who triggers transformation simply by looking. And they're no longer the person who stays silent in the background. They're the one whose awakening is meant to meet yours. This is the shift everyone in the room feels but can't name. The rise of a force that no longer hides its sight. The emergence of someone whose glance carries consequence. The alignment of two energies designed to amplify each other. The demonic side-eye didn't send just one soul into the astral realm crying. It summoned another soul into purpose. And when those two frequencies collide, the collapsed and the awakened, the world won't just shift, it will kneel. Because you are no longer the one giving accidental glances. You are the one giving revelations. You are the one rearranging realities. You are the one whose eyes speak the truth the universe has been waiting to unleash. And this awakening, yours and theirs, was never a mistake. It was the prophecy hidden in your gaze.